So I guess I thought I would talk a little bit more about the gift and the sense of the gift character of life. I don't know why this is such a difficult concept. I've said at many points that this isn't necessarily my idea. This comes from a whole line of work. You can find it in Becker's writing. I would say Derrida's book, The Gift of Death, is a good place to go, and Calvin Schrag's book, God is Otherwise Than Being, where he talks about the gift character in there, sort of semantics of the gift. Now, first off, I want to be very careful. I think the word gift is ambiguous. I think many people align it with good or like gifted, like elevated or more capacitated or something like that. But not every gift is a desirable gift. Not everything that you receive as a gift is something that you wanted or desired or asked for. In fact, the key characteristic of the gift is that it's something that you get without asking for it. See, I think the problem is that the universe has made possible, and made possible is perhaps a loaded word, it makes it sound like there's agency, but somehow evolution evolved beings who experience themselves as isolated and in a self-reflexive, sort of self-aware way are able to experience their very lives as a gift. And by that I mean something given to them without any asking for it. It's not like we were there from the beginning and said, yes, I'd like to be born. No one asks for life. You wake up and there it comes to you. And yet, it's not like the... And people want to haggle about different animals. I guess maybe that's where the argument comes in. I don't know the degree to which other animals, other organisms feel the gift character. I don't know if they have sufficient self-awareness to recognize themselves as discrete entities over and against a larger world, and from there to feel the burden of doing something with oneself. I don't know if they feel the agony of their own life as a totality rendered against this backdrop of awareness of death. When I say that life has a gift character, I don't mean there's some guy in the sky who is a giver. I mean that nature is more than just survival through replication, through reproduction. At a certain point, there emerged in history a self-conscious organism that then had its brain made over through various communication technologies, and increasingly humans became individuated or self-made to such a degree that now they experience themselves as separate from the world. They think of the world as one thing and themselves as something else. And it's in that perspective, that self-awareness, that releasement from installment in the rest of the surround. I mean, to those people who want to say that there really aren't any significant differences between humans and the rest of the animal world, I don't, that doesn't work for me. Now, we can certainly say every organism has its own unique installment in the world. Every organism has its own sense of space, its own sense of time. Yes, I agree with all that. I still want to say categorically there is something called time binding and historicity, and what we mean by time binding. Now, maybe you get to see some of this in higher primates to a limited degree, but I refuse to believe that other organisms are concerned about where their great-great-grandparents came from, or even what their ultimate origins are. Other creatures don't seem to need narratives about their origins. Now, somebody's going to tell me, well, I just don't speak Labrador, or I just don't know Canary, or whatever. I just want to say, well, we're informed by very different areas. I guess there is an abundance of information out there. All the stuff that I come across would suggest a pretty significant distinction can be drawn between the very complex sign systems found throughout the natural world, which we have, but then also this logos, this discursive syntactical speech that is part of our conceptual system, our big brain, the sort of frontal cortex is so much of it has to do, the left temporal lobe, a lot of these have to do with language center and the way that has reappropriated the rest of the nervous system. I think there's a very interesting amount of evidence that came out of that line that is in general semantics and in the work of Korzybski on how nervous systems themselves become appropriated by the higher brain. Right? I mean, the human brain isn't an unfilled brain, it's a not yet finished brain, is the way that Korzybski wants to get at it. At any rate, the issue here is that when we're talking about the gift character of life, it doesn't mean that it was something that you desired. In fact, that's the whole point. It's something that came to you from out of nowhere. It was a gift. That is, you were undeserving of it. There was nothing that one did to deserve the fate of being human and being self-conscious. For some reason, this has been thrown upon one. And not every gift that one gets, again, is a desirable gift. But the point is that it's not like something was done to warrant being. And it's not as if one is just existing mindlessly without sufficient awareness of the full scope of the meaning of one's own life and death. I think as soon as nature has made possible fully self-conscious organisms, that however it happened, it somehow happened by nature, by some sort of material cause, by humans have created the material conditions that then acted back upon humans. Maybe it was ingestion of psilocybin mushrooms, maybe it was various chemicals that were taken in. I don't know. There's lots of different people who give different accounts for the origin of language in the history of consciousness. And I'm happy to grant that it has, material origins. No matter how materialistic you come at it, there still does seem to be the emergence of something like the gift character of existence for self-aware organisms. By that I mean anytime you get an organism anywhere that's sufficiently self-aware, and by that I mean thrown back upon itself by a realization of its own finitude and the meaning of that, the meaning of its own death, it feels then as if life is an object over there, I'm a thing over here, and I stand in some kind of unquestioned relationship to a fact that came without any asking, and it's in my lap. I didn't say, hey, please give me this. Because I never asked for it, and no one asked to be born, it seems like gift is a good word. Now, if you say it was just random, it was a random happenstance, that to me underestimates, or it underplays the way that humanity does seem to make a kind of sense. That is, the self-awareness does seem to be more than just a happenstance. That is, all creatures are alive. I mean, they're all, in that sense, part of the accident. But the accident isn't, the sheer fact of something rather than nothing. I've said in a million videos, almost every video, that's not really the beef. Now, that's part of the interesting question. But the more interesting question is, why is part of the something self-aware? What does that mean? And I don't mean, when I say why, I mean in the sense of final cause, not in the sense of material cause or efficient cause. Isn't there something about the fact of being able to contemplate one's own death and how that emerges in nature? I think, to me, the best way to get at what that experience is the gift character. Because I think there is this expression, accounts for an enormous wealth of anthropological facts about the history of sacrifice, the origin of guilt, the relation of anxiety. So much of what I'm trying to do is to try to recover theology for its insights in psychology and the human condition. I'm not interested in the dogmatic stuff. I'm interested in what the ancients had to say about human psychology and how much of that has been cloaked over in religious dogma, but it can be recovered in a kind of understanding of what makes humans, I guess, unique in the cosmos, and what kind of burdens do they suffer, and how are we to address the human condition. I feel like the gift character is very useful language. So that would be one more way to talk about it. Okay, thank you.